Hi, I'm Wes Allen with DM Tales, and in my previous Star Trek Adventures video, I had a lot of fun talking about the design of the game. Today, as it drops a ton of snow outside my window, I'm going to be looking at the design of the product. What's great? Was there anything that left me scratching my head just a bit? Can I get it transported to my house? Let's find out. Let's roll it. I want to say to start that there is an amazing amount of information in the Star Trek Adventures core rulebook. There's essays on the culture of the Federation and other Trek civilizations. There are short explorations on the different eras of play, which can be expanded then by further source books. There's a chapter on the hazards of space and the different types of planets, which made both my residual astronomy knowledge happy and let me geek out as a Trekker. Yay! 14 Trek species can be run as PCs, and there's even rules to play a joined trill, which made me really happy. The GM advice is very good, and there's even a couple of roll tables for techno and medical babble found on pages 266 and 267, which can yield results like, we have to desaturate the phased coolant frequency manifold, and the body is rapidly enlarging due to its accidental visit to an antimatter universe. For me to stop it, I need to give them a massive serotonin boost and a tetryon radiation field. It's amazing. I will say that with all that cool information, it is also organized just a little bit weird. And don't get me wrong, I can see why the book is organized the way it is. The Trek universe is so well defined by this point that all the information on the universe really has to be up front in order to land the fact that this is an official product. If you get both the information and the feel of Trek wrong, then the game might as well be a generic space game, and that is not going to fly for Trekkers. On the other hand, had I not had some previous exposure to 2D20 mechanics in Dreams of Machines, I'd have been lost long before any of the extended explanation of either the characters or the mechanics appeared in the book. Character talents are, for one example, found beginning on page 148, but they reference mechanics which don't appear in the book until page 249 at the earliest. That's like over 100 pages. Conflict mechanics, which were where a number of talents lean, well, they don't begin until page 275. So you're reading these talents and you don't understand mechanically what they do. Now, I do understand that I'm an oddball because I read these books straight through, but I do that because I want to see how the structure of the book is designed. And in this case, it made the talent section feel difficult to read. I just had no idea what any of the talents actually did. Now, I could infer a bit because I know Trek pretty well, but the mechanical references, even though I was familiar somewhat with 2D20, it was little more than babble for a lot of different things. Now, I think the good folks who organized this book saw this hole, and there is a paragraph that's added on page 90 about the game's core mechanic, including a reference to the chapter where the rules are explained. So for folks just coming to the game, jumping ahead to chapter 7, Operations, after reading page 90 of the book, that might help unlock much of the character creation process for you so you won't feel as lost. Now, is this all terrible organization? No, not at all. But that gap between the mechanics and the character talents which depend on them for any context whatsoever, well, it's a little bit odd that they're that separate. The Star Trek Adventures core rulebook is a full-sized 8.5 by 11-inch book weighing in at 377 pages. The cover art by this person, because I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that name, I'm a dumb American, it depicts away team members from across the eras of Trek as the Enterprise hovers overhead. Which Enterprise? Well, the orange deflector dish and the nacelle shape leads me to believe it's the ship from the TOS era. The font used for the cover's title also points to that direction, and the nacelle arms appear to be straight up instead of swept back like they were on the original series. And if you haven't figured it out yet, I am a nerd. Now the book is stitched binding, but it's printed on glossy paper and includes no book ribbons, so those two things do make me sad. But the end pages are phenomenal. In the front, you have a map of the Alpha and Beta quadrants displayed, which makes me so happy. And keeping with the in-universe fiction, most of the Romulan Empire is blank, which is such a nice touch. The rear end pages reveal a timeline for the Trek universe broken into 3 sections. The top is the canon screen timeline, displaying where all the shows and movies take place relative to each other. This moves from left to right across the spread. The middle section is a timeline of the Prime Universe events, with events moving in columns from top to bottom and left to right across the spread. In the lower section, in line from left to right across the spread, is a timeline of the Terran Universe events. The Kelvin Universe, on the other hand, is absent. Apologies to fans of the reboot trilogy. I'm not one of them. A rather nice index is found in the back of the book, which is always a nice plus. There's also both a character and ship sheet included, as well as a personal log sheet. Now, this is a custom in RPG books that's been passed down through generations, but in an era of downloadable sheets, they've become a literal appendix. I like having them, don't get me wrong, but they're not needed anymore. It also includes in the back of the book a sample adventure, always a nice inclusion. I describe the layout and design language as subtle beauty. There are no heavy elements in the book. Borders and separators are thin to the point of being inferred as much as they're seen. But the color palette for these hairline features matches the bright color scheme for the TOS and Next Generation uniforms, gold, red, and blue. Each of these colors is used in a separate section of the book, as seen in the table of contents. Blue is science and medicine. That's used for the foreword through chapter 3, which is where the world of Star Trek is explored. Red, which is engineering and security, is used in chapters 4 through 8, where the game mechanics and character creation is explained. And then gold, which is Kirk's color of command, that's utilized in chapters 9 through 11, where game masters receive their advice. Using the classic colors this way to colorize different elements is something that fans of Trek will love and recognize by instinct. I love how they did that. There's an additional color, teal, which is used wherever the book is addressing the reader as part of the endgame fiction. This is the color used, for example, when some characters appear on each chapter's first page to help guide readers through the book. The primary accents for each section of the book are used for second-level headings in the chapter title and page number blocks found in the footers, and as the call-out borders. The only decoration in the headers is a subtle line on the right page in the section's accent color. First-level headings, they're always black. Heading fonts are a nice weight and are more wide than tall. The body text is a readable sans serif font. Tables have clear alternating rows, utilizing a medium weight version of the body font for headers, and have a subtle border around the table body and its title. While there are no specific LCARS elements in the book's design language, the fonts and table structure feel like a subtle nod to the idea that the book is being displayed on an in-universe pad, which is really, really nice. The interior artwork is fantastic, and every era of Trek is represented, including the animation style of Lower Decks, which to me is a huge plus. Now, I will go grumpy old man for a second and say that the every era of Trek includes Discovery Klingons, which are not my favorite. And even so, the artwork depicting the version of Klingons which are not my favorite is still really good, which kind of makes me even more upset. Now, some of the full-page pieces, though, like the shuttle Galileo on page 248, I would love to have hanging on my wall. This is great artwork, and the book is well designed. This product is beautiful, and even though there were some organizational decisions that left me scratching my head, it's still easy to use. And if you're a fan of Trek and would like to see what the official TTRPG set in the Trek universe looks like, this is a book worth picking up. If you'd like to pick up Star Trek Adventures, you can get it from your friendly local game store or from the Modiphius website, where it sells for about $75 on the US store, and it does include the PDF as well. As a separate purchase, a PDF of the core rulebook goes for about $27. It ain't cheap, but it is very good. Coming up, I've got both the Dolmen Wood Player's Handbook and the Broken Steps for Dreams and Machines read, and I'll be getting those reviews on the channel next. I've also got some interviews I'm working on getting set up and a couple of live streams because Dave Ward and I are rolling out an adventure I made for Index Card RPG called the Orshin Incident. You can check out the sign-up page right there. Until we see each other again, folks, happy playing, everyone.